Hello and welcome, luminous beings of light. Thank you for joining me here at the SoulFire Alchemist. I'm your host, Beth SoulFire. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so happy to be doing these for you again. It's been a long time since I've done. I think last summer I did a report when we had a full moon, I think, in Leo. And yeah, I've been going through a lot of changes, finishing up things, so I'm hoping to bring you more of the shamanic astrology, and I'll go into more of that at the end of the video. But for right now, what I want to do is talk about this full moon in Capricorn coming up, what's important to us about it, and I'm going to go through each sun sign and tell you exactly what house, so what area and aspect of your life that's going to be affecting you the most. So here we go, let's just get right into it. All right. So the full moon in Capricorn is going to be on July the 13th at 2:38 p.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time. So be sure, if you know how to pull an astrological chart for yourself, or you already have one, or you can just go Google full moon in Capricorn July 13th and your time zone, and it should be able to bring that information up for you. Just that way you know, because there's some specific things I want to be talking about here that are manifestation potentials for you. And if you don't have this information, you're not going to be able to make these decisions. You won't know about them, that's why. You know, a sip of my Topo Chico. So sorry. And yes, I'm back in my cap, right? Because y'all, today I was just like, we're kicking this old school. I don't have time. I've been in the garden for 3-4 hours this morning. And so I finally just got back in here, and I slapped on a little makeup, and you know, I thought I'm going to go ahead and cut this video, and I'm going to do it now today before, you know, while people still have time to plan. So this full moon in Capricorn, of course, is on this axis of the Capricorn Cancer axis. To me, is very personal. I have an ascendant in Capricorn. If you, whatever your ascendant is, the opposite sign is your descendant. And I'd like to talk a little bit more about these depth astrology points. If that's something that you're interested in, please comment below. But for this video, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Capricorn itself, when you have a full moon, right? The moon and the sun, those are our two luminaries in our beautiful star system, right? Our solar system. And Capricorn is all about work, what you do out in the world, your status, building things. It's about growing things. You know, it's about leadership and career, so that, you know, things could be coming to you at this time that might like acknowledge and highlight work that you've done in the past. I know for me that's happening because I'm putting out a lot of my older content that's still so highly useful and valuable, and I'm working really hard to create all kinds of new things, and even some pay what you can courses for you guys, because I know in these times not everybody has the money to go out and buy $10,000 course or whatever to help them fully learn this stuff. And you can learn a lot by watching my channel, because I'm a teacher. So if you are interested in learning more about astrology, you are going to find that you'll like my channel, because I do tend to go into things more deeply than some astrologers, not all. But again, going back to the Capricorn and the things it represents. So this is a really good time to set goals. You might even see goals that you have set come to fruition. You may see some sort of a fame, because Capricorn rules that 10th house. And that is all about our work and our career and being out on front and center stage. So it could be something like fame, really, even, because Capricorn sits in the natural chart. When I say the natural chart, I mean the regular chart that we look at, not your personal natal chart. You need to go look up your own personal natal chart to figure out how these things are affecting you personally. I can help you with that some in these videos, but it gets a lot detailed. So I do offer astrology readings. If you'd like to go over SoulFire, www.soulfiremultiversity.com. Check it out. All right, so going on, this can also represent, with Capricorn, fathers or father figures or authoritarian figures in your life coming in or leaving, or coming to give you a blessing even. And these things can be for better or for worse, right? I do tend to look towards the positive, but I'm also I'm very grounded because I have a lot of earth energy, so I like to take all of these beautiful, heady, not earthy, but airy ether things, right, and anchor them down into the 3D, because we're still human beings in this human body having this human experience, right? And you can't just live in the celestial realms all the time because you weren't created to do that. You actually have this body until you leave it. I know through my own near-death experience, something I have known for myself. But this could also be, it could be around business and therefore could maybe affect your finances. And there are some aspects happening that I'll talk about that will influence this moon. One of the things I also wanted to mention to you that my teacher did, and that I never really thought about this before, but it's very true, is that your personal best projects. So Capricorn can highlight that for you. What's the number one thing, right? And I love Capricorn for manifesting energy. It's some of the best, and Earth energies often are. Simply because in Capricorn, we're laying a foundation of the building that we're going to build. Now, if that foundation's not strong enough, because it will be tested, the storms will come. If it's not strong enough, that foundation will fall. Or not the foundation, but the building, excuse my microphone, the building will fall. And then you have to start from scratch. And if you already had a decent foundation, you've got something that you can at least start with, right? Because you did put that work in. So you're going to see some rewards maybe hopefully coming through for you during this time. And remember, like I said, this is going to be July 13th, at least in my time zone. So you can look it up for where you're at on the globe. So this is a perfect time. Before we had the lockdowns, I did a lot of full moon shamanic fire ceremonies, and I did these for specific purposes. I also did new moon ceremonies, and I do this for a sort of being able to reveal what's going on in your life, surrender, and also be able to plant seeds and manifest, and also to be able to let go of things that aren't serving you any longer. So Capricorn right now in this full moon, and we won't have another Capricorn, is it full? We'll have a new moon and to end the year, December 23rd. And that is going to be the very last new moon. And it'll also be a super moon of the year. Now, this one is also, it's the biggest, brightest super moon of the year. This full buck moon. That's what this is called. So those are things that are really important to me. And I feel like that all of those things are things you can work with. You just need to know, if you understand the rhythms of each thing, right? Well, what does the energy do when the moon is a dark moon? When it's void, of course. When it's in this sign or that sign. You know, there's a lot to be learned just from the moon. But anyway, it's a perfect time to like look at your own patterns or blocks or deeply held belief systems that were so rooted that they're just like starting to upend your life. And if you've noticed that that has happened, it's a really good time to peel those layers back, which is what astrology and the medicine wheel does for us. And this is why I love this work. It peels back all those layers so that you can take a deeper look and say, okay, what's going on here with me, right? And also what I hope to bring to you in the future is many other astrologers, many teachers that I have as well, they all love to put up the chart wheel for you so that you can actually see it. Right now, I'm just looking at mine on my phone. And I'm recording on a bigger camera that I have right now, but what I'd like to do is eventually get those charts to where you're seeing what I'm doing, and I can make a little notes on the screen and do a share screen. And if you're interested in that, comment, because there will be times when this may be a podcast. Maybe I can't get to the camera, right? Sometimes I'll be doing a fuller new moon report, and it might be more podcast style. But I'm very animated, and I usually try to convey that even if the camera isn't there. But a couple of points I wanted to make on this is that we've got a few really good aspects that are happening during this full moon energy. And I want you to pay specific attention, especially if you follow your own chart. Because we're going to be having Venus this is in the same, around the same days, okay? We're going to be having we're going to be having Venus trining Saturn in Aquarius, okay? And Venus is in Gemini right now. And that's going to happen at 24 degrees. So if you have any planets or points within Saturn, I usually give it at about 4, maybe 5 degrees. So I would say if you have any planets or points in Gemini or Aquarius around, let's say, 20 to 28 degrees. This trine's going to affect you, and trines are beautiful, but these trines are a gift straight from the universe. It's like, okay, here you go. Now I want you to realize that Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and Venus is trining him, and he's retrograde in Aquarius. What I'm saying is that things like love and beauty and money and blessings and feeling good and all of those beautiful things, relationships, love, that energy is going to be trining the energy of Saturn, which is the stern parent of the solar system, right? He's the taskmaster. He makes you cross your T's and dot your I's, and I want to see your homework. Bring it out. He's the one that'll kick the crap out of that house you just built to see if the foundation was done right. So perhaps Venus could be coming along to show us, hey, come from your heart when you're building this foundation. Make sure it's in alignment with your heart's true desire, which I'll get to later. This goes into manifestation stuff, right? So the other thing I want to tell you about is another beautiful thing, aspect that is being made, which is a trine. Now the trine that I'm seeing is like this Mercury in Cancer trining over to Uranus and Taurus. And it's a 60-degree angle, a trine is. A trine is so beautiful. And this happens at 18 degrees. Again, this is going to be in Cancer and Taurus. And the planets are Mercury and Uranus. So if you think about Mercury, sorry, I had some fruit flies. If you think about Mercury, being in Cancer, that is a lot, and Cancer is ruled by the moon, right? And we're on this Cancer Capricorn axis, right? So that very much brings attention to matters of your work and your home life. Cancer rules the home. So this is definitely energy, about having more energy, more information, right? Gemini is information, and Mercury is also ruled by that energy. Mercury is communication, is getting information out. You guys know all about what Mercury retrograde is, I'm sure. So that Mercury right now is in Cancer at 18 degrees, and it's making that sextile over to Uranus and Taurus. Now Uranus is shock, upheaval, and surprise. And those things can be for better or for worse. Sometimes the universe brings us a wonderful surprise. It's just like somebody just left a big, huge, gigantic chocolate cake on our front doorstep or something, It's so interesting to me with a sextile. With a trine, it's like such a gift from the universe. But with a trine like this Mercury, Cancer, sextile in Uranus and Taurus, it's like the ingredients are on the counter for you to make this beautiful dessert. But if you don't put those ingredients together, the universe can't pick them up and put them together and make them into a cake for you. So that's what I want to say about that, is that this Mercury in Cancer is going to have you really communicative, even in your own deep inner work, about who it is that you are. It's going to be dealing with your subconscious mind quite substantially. But there's going to be a lot of surprises coming your way. Because it is a sextile energy, generally that does mean that it's uplifting, right? So it's not so much, it might be still shock, upheaval, and surprise, but it might not be something that you didn't see coming, or it might not, or actually Uranus are things that you don't see coming, but it might be something unexpected that's so pleasuring, right? And it's going to be something about new information coming through for you. So I just wanted to give you those. Now, there are a couple of challenging aspects I just want to hit on really fast. I want you to look out for a couple of squares that we're having also that involves these planets. All right, and then this is where this gets into more of a complex reading, right? Much more complex than what I was doing a couple years ago. Because I'm almost finished with that mastery, the apprenticeship program I took for astrology. I'm nearing my end, and I'm working on doing some projects that is really helping me understand it. It's ridiculous, It's like the more you learn about it, the more you learn that there's still things you don't know. Never will know. This is a lifetime project. I want you to look out for Venus also in Gemini, like I mentioned earlier. While it's making that trine to Saturn at 24 degrees, it's also making a square to Neptune at 25 degrees. So if you have any planets or points near that 25 degree mark, it's definitely going to be pulling and affecting that part of your chart, wherever that is. Okay, so that square just means, and Neptune retrograde is illusions, delusions, and deceit. It's hidden, it's unknown. It's not getting the full story because it doesn't want the full story to be out. Neptune wants to make up its own mind about what reality is and get lost in it. That's the danger, right, of Neptune. Because it can be, okay, I'm going to give you a quote that I always loved, and I don't remember if Carl Jung or Alan Watts said this, but one of those gentlemen that I studied so long said the psychotic drowns in the same deep watery oceans with which the mystic swims with the light. Well, which one are you going to be? Going to be a mystic swimming with the light in those deep waters, knowing that at any moment you could come right out onto land and get everybody's story if you wanted to. Or, that's the other part, right? Pisces is that crab energy. That is the moon. And if it gets hurt because it's got these squishy insides, it's going to go right back in, and all you're going to get is that tough shell. So that brings me to my next square that I want to talk to you about, and I'm going to go back on these because they're related. Mercury and Cancer, right? I was just talking about Cancer. I was just talking about Mercury being the communication and the informational delivery systems, right? It's in Cancer. That is the moon. But it's in Capricorn. It's opposing energy. Where the sun is also in Cancer right now. So we have these, the square with Cancer going to Chiron and Aries, okay? Now y'all have to look in your own chart to see where this is occurring. But it's going to be at 25 degrees as well, okay? So all these planets and points, I will round this up for you at the end, so no worries. Chiron and Aries, I was born with, so I'm very well acquainted with that energy. Chiron has been forcing human beings since it entered Aries again these last few years to really take a look at where they have had their own selves wounded or hurt or scarred. And it can really bring up those things when we have a square to that energy. But the square is happening in Mercury and Cancer. What I want to say to you about that is that communications about or trying to get your words out, right? Trying to explain or not. That Cancer energy's got a lot of responsibility right now. And it's got to figure it out. And it's not an easy one, right? It's not an easy one to see your way through. These waters are very murky. With Neptune in retrograde, very murky, extremely. You can't see anything in these waters, literally, like if you were in them. I'm talking to you metaphorically, but you know what I mean. And it's squaring this Chiron and Aries. To me, this means these are going to be things surrounding your deep, deep inner needs. But your deepest wounds. And having a good conversation about that isn't bullshit. Don't be lying to yourself, right? I really have realized lately how important that is. And doing my own spiritual work and then just working my relationships, I've realized that if you are not honest, you are not serving the people that you claim that you love. And other people might be not in a position that they can even hear the truth that you're trying to show them. So then it becomes your responsibility to find a perspective or a way to show them in a way that you feel is loving and compassionate, kind. But the thing is, Cancer, so that energy is very sensitive, and it's going to go right back into its shell, and then you won't see or hear it again. You'll be lucky if you ever get to tangle with that energy again. And so I don't know if that's you or another person or both. It could be either or both, I'll just be honest. And it could just be something you're dealing with internally, that too. Yes, I'm going to say that in addition. Because Mercury in Cancer is us talking to ourselves about what we really need in many ways, right? And that square to Aries is bringing it up for us. Okay, well, here's where you've been wounded and traumatized. So maybe we need to do some work around these areas, so that how can we ensure that when we move forward in life and we try to do relationship, no matter what that looks like, because that's what shamanism is, it's about relationship, period. That's it. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about not lying to yourself. This Neptune retrograde can really do that to you. It can make you think that you're in the right when you perhaps don't even have all the information. It can make you think somebody else is a horrible person. Again, you don't have all the information. So I say to you with fervor and fierceness, please do your own inner work. Try to remain in a place of non-judgment. Let people have their own soul path. Let them be okay on it. If you don't want to or can't be around that person, if they love you enough and the relationship is meant to be, it will be there when the murkiness clears up. If you don't do something to antagonize that person so badly that they go back into that Cancerian shell and lock the key away for you and don't ever trust you again. So these are very touchy subjects, and they always are, these dances in human life. You know, nothing is new under the sun or the moon, as they say, not even the truth. Although these days and times, you gotta wonder. Now, this video is getting long. I'm 13 minutes into it, but I'm going to go ahead real quick. I'm going to go through each and every one of the sun signs. I'm going to tell you, based on your sun sign, what house this is going to be affecting you the most. Sip of water. Before I move on to that, I want to let you know that you should probably jot this down. If you have planets or points from 13 to 14 degrees, in a water sign or in an earth sign, this is really going to affect you in big ways. Go back and listen to this video again if you have to. If you're not sure about something, comment on the video and let me know, and I will get back to you. If you are not sure and you really need help, you can book a dabbling session with me. They're an hour long. So, that just gives you an opportunity to say, okay, well, here's my chart, and you can just, now granted, I can't look at anything in these dabbling sessions, but if it's just you needing some guidance on whatever it is that you're looking for, spiritually, holistically, with your relationships, with whatever your pain points are, right? Like if you, especially with me, like my passion is working with people who have been shunned and just basically not able to have their free expression their whole life and be creatively who they were, not just as a child, but even up through adulthood, because these things stick with us, and it takes a lifetime, folks. It takes a lifetime of this work to get through it. And we better become pretty forgiving quickly, because the minute we start thinking that everybody's an enemy is when we can really get into trouble, because that's isolation. But we also don't want to be tricked because of that Neptune in retrograde. That's illusions, delusions, and deceit. In this case, it can be. So watch out for things going missing or being stolen from you. That can happen during this time. So I just want to make you aware to guard your money and your resources. So yeah, if you've got Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, these, if you've got any points or planets, right? When I say points, I mean like your ascendant, like a point, or your midheaven. A planet is an actual planetary body at a particular degree. From 13 to 24 degrees in these signs, it's really going to be affecting you, okay? So now let's get into a little bit more deeply. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to go ahead and go through this. So what I'm seeing on the chart here that I'm looking at is, all right, so Aries, okay, if you're an Aries, you are going to be dealing with this in your 10th house. Now, I want you to realize that if you have a sun, moon, or rising, and you know that sign, listen to what I'm telling you, because it's going to give you a little teeny tiny window into your own life. Might not be a big huge one, and I'll give you some perspective though, okay? And Aries, you're going to experience this in your 10th house. This is going to be double for you. This is going to be very much about how you put yourself out there, about your work, about your career, about your status, about what you do. you know, what you're known for, leaving a legacy behind. That's what the things that this is going to be focused for you on, really, primarily, is how am I leaving a legacy in my life? How am I building my business? Do I want to build that business? Do I want to be a stay-at-home mother and take care of my family and my home? And, you know, all of those things are wonderful. Not everybody equally respects them, though. And the truth is that you can be one in many things, and all things, and nothing. And so I'm just getting through Aries here, and I wanted to tell you that you guys, mostly the 10th house, okay, that's your work and career. Taurus, you're going to be having this in the 9th house, and this is going to be focusing on things about travel, long distance travel usually, so international engagements and things of that nature. This is going to involve you editing or writing or teaching. Anything in those areas for you, Taurus, will be elevated at this time. And so for Gemini, this is going to be affecting your 8th house. And the 8th house deals with other people's money, other people's resources. So you could be seeing, you know, some income coming in from the money you make from income, or your partner's income, the money you make from a partnership that you have, you know, somebody just gifting you money, or you being able to maybe even get a loan, or, you know, some sort of a financial gift. Topics around, you know, taboo and sex can come up in this 8th house as well, because these are things involving other people. So, you know, also Taurus things, not Taurus, but Gemini, things about, you know, researching astrology might even come up for you right now, because this stuff's happening in your 8th house, right? But also it's going to be about shared money with others, mostly. Now, moving on to Cancer. Cancer, this is going to affect your 7th house. Of course, the 7th house is the house of relationships, and these are going to be the main relationships that you have in your life. So these are your best friends, these are your roommates, these are your housemates, your partners, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your, you know, whatever. Relationships in general, usually not business partnerships, although it can do that, right? So just know, Cancer, that for you, this is going to be a lot around relationships. Leo, this is going to happen for you in your 6th house. It's going to put a lot of focus on your daily health, your daily work, your daily routines in life, your pets, right? Like my kitty cat, she's been having all kinds of neediness. I expect that might be getting worse, because I might be having company. So if we do, I don't know how she'll be, but also, you know, I've taken up gardening, and so that's part of my daily work in life now. So it doesn't mean necessarily the 6th house. That can mean what you do for a living, Leo. Sorry about my mic. I keep touching it, I feel. But it's just for this time period over the next couple of weeks. Those things are really going to come into focus for you. So pay special attention to your health. Make sure if you're not feeling well that you take care of yourself. If you work outside a lot, stay very hydrated. Please don't drink Gatorade. I mean, find yourself some real electrolytes, actual ones. Dr. Berg is a great resource. If you can't find anything but the no salt, that's potassium, use that, magnesium and salt. Make your own electrolyte drink. Don't put sugar in it. It makes it so much worse. You can tell I got a Virgo moon, can't y'all? All right, moving on. Virgos, this is going to be in your 5th house. So this is all about recreation and pleasure and children, love and fun, right? So your bucket list, all the things that you wanted to do that you know, I'm going to do this. I've always wanted to, and I never did, right? So Leo, this is kind of Virgo, this is where this energy is up for you. So again, if you missed that, that is for Virgo. That's going to be your 5th house being really highlighted at this time. For Libra, this is going to be house number 4. Of course, we're just sort of working backwards. For house number 4, of course, is going to be your home and your family and all of those things, people you consider your family, but your actual home that you live in. Things around moving might come up for you. There's going to be a big focus there, something big coming into the home, something big going out of the home. You might buy something new or redecorate, you just don't know, right? So, and issues around the family can come up around this time. So Libra, just keep that in mind for you. Scorpio, this is going to affect your a third house, right? And so when you think about your third house, you're going to be matters, right? Third house matters is all about relatives and siblings, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins, right? Maybe even grandma and grandpa. Any relatives that you have, any mobility issues, you know, getting around town or trying to find transportation, or the gas prices going up might be really affecting you right now. So if you're a Scorpio, this is definitely the third house matters that's going to be working with for you. Now, if you are a Sagittarius friends, now this could affect you in the second house, but there might be some bleed over into that third house. But, you know, and the third house is mostly like the relatives thing. But for Sagittarius placements, I would say for you, this is mostly going to be about money, your own personal ability to make money, income, a purchase that you make that you think is a wise investment, or an asset that you require, or something like acquire, or something like that, right? So that's going to be the sort of things that will affect you, Sag, because this is going to be primarily in your second house. If you're cuspy, you might notice that either what I've mentioned in the sign before or after may come into play for you. If you don't know what cuspy is, comment please, and I'll do a video on it. Now, for Capricorns, all right, this is affecting us in our first house. Now, I'm in a Capricorn ascendant, but I'm Aquarius sun. So this is why I say look at both, because there are little windows into the truth for you. Okay, so for Caps, it's going to be all about ourselves, our own personal selves. Our own personal health, our body, our physical health, the bone structure, the teeth, the nervous system, right? All of those things are ruled by Capricorn itself. But it also can be about recognition, right? And that full moon does shine a bright light on those Scorpio placements. So if you are a sun, or if you have a Scorpio ascendant, or even a moon, surely there's going to be more for you if it's a moon. It'll be internal, but external, surely, if it's ascendant or a sun sign, you're going to have a lot of light being shown on recognition for what you're doing out in the world, and that's a wonderful thing. I know I'm feeling better about it. Even if I'm not getting a tremendous amount of recognition, I'm at least putting myself back out there, and for me that is personal recognition and makes me really happy. So moving on to Aquarius, this is going to be affecting you and me partly, but not entirely, in your 12th house. So Aquarius in your 12th house, this is going to be this is the underworld. You know, the 12th house is the end. It rules things like mental institutions and things like that. Not to say that to scare you, but the 12th house in general is going to be, you know, your psychology, things that are happening in the undertow of your subconscious mind that are coming to light for you to deal with, your own inner world, you know, all that kind of stuff. Anything, I would even say, like, if you have ancestral stuff coming up for you, that could be highlighted at this time. You could really be feeling like you need to look into a past life, or look into ancestral healing, or whatever you want to call that. Now, if you're an Aquarius or you're resonating with that in any way, do know that those are things that I specialize in and I do help with. So you can reach me at the website down below, soulfiremultiversity.com. All right, Pisces, finally, last but never least. All right, this is going to be affecting your 11th house, which is all about friends and travel and community and relationships with your networks, right? Your hubs that you're a part of, and really it gets you out into the community, get you out into the group. It really highlights that for you, Pisces. So you're going to be having more friends coming along. But what I would say to you, Pisces, is simply because this Mercury in Cancer is making that square over to Chiron and Aries, I want you to be careful, because there could be somebody that you do make a friend with, let's say, or whatever happens, and then there is some sort of miscommunication there, feelings get hurt, something gets lost or stolen, fingers get pointed, and it can pull up your own personal wounds around having that done to you that you need to heal and that you need to look at. So that's my full moon report for this full buck moon in Capricorn happening on July 13th. As I said, at 2:38 p.m. You do have a full 8 hours up until that full moon energy. That is prime time for manifesting what you want. Highly suggest doing a little fire ceremony or some sort of ritual where you just write some things down that you want to let go of for new growth in your life and burn them. It's a good time to do that. If you're interested in attending a full moon or a new moon we call it a celebration, but it is a ceremony, right? So this is very much cultural work in the sense that we're getting together to do not just inner work for ourselves, but work for our ancestors and all of them, because the ones that are deeply well and deeply wise, we really need to be connected with them. So if you're somebody that resonates for, and you're finding that, take a look at my website and see what all I have going in there for you, and I've got links below for all that. One other thing I want to say is this is going to be, because remember I said the last supermoon of the year was going to be a new moon in Capricorn. This is going to be setting us up for a brand new 6-month cycle. So the things that you're setting into motion now that have to do with all those things surrounding the things that I mentioned to you, the Capricorn things that I mentioned to you about work and leadership and your status out in the world, and recognition and building things and laying a foundation, and even it could be behind the scenes work somewhat, but not really. Capricorn's mostly out there doing the work, kind of like this video, right? This is a Capricorn thing. Building your business, or having an issue with father figures or authority figures, right? All of this stuff is going to be highlighted during this time, and things that start into motion during this time will come to some sort of culmination at the end of the year. I think I said around December 23rd, yeah, on my notes. So December 23rd, that's going to be an interesting one. So be ready to let go of anything that you have planted or have desired for this time that might not be working out. It might not be a good time to reassess those things, which we typically do anyway. So that's all I have for you for this full moon report, full super buck moon report in Capricorn. And I love you guys so much. I thank you for tuning in. It is my goal to go ahead and start doing these full and new moon reports as I can. But I still wanted to talk about healing trauma. And I use those tools, right? I have many different modalities that I use to achieve a result with you. My main concern is being able to, if you love nature-based mindfulness, spirit medicine even, that's nature-based. If you love reconnecting, the idea of reconnecting with the earth, right? And great mystery, right? And understand what oneness is, and understand your own life and why you've had so much crap your whole life to deal with, right? And if you're interested in more on that, you can watch my interview with Jeremy McDonald. It's the one below this one. I'll try to put the link for that one down below. But anyway, any of those will kind of let you know what my path has been, at least as far as my own spiritual journey, and what that has been like as a Chiron and Aries, amongst other things, having a grand cross or a grand square in my chart. So yeah, I look so forward to being able to teach you guys more and talk to you guys more about it. If there is an astrological shamanic astrology, we'll just call it that. I think that's how I had it worded anyway. I want to try to do that course, and it's an 8-week long course. So if you're interested in that and you want to be in on a rendition of that one, you're going to learn so much, because you're getting me every week live and so much materials. You're going to be learning a little bit about the medicine wheel and how your chart actually works with that. I also have a mentorship program right now. That is full for this year, but it will be opening up again next year. So I do suggest that you get on that waiting list, because once it's full, and I can't take anymore unless somebody drops out, and then I open up the seat. But that doesn't happen very often, or it hasn't so far. So I don't expect that it will, because this is really interesting stuff. I mean, it would only be because somebody just simply did not have the money, because they didn't do the full pay, or they couldn't afford a monthly or whatever. But I try to work with people on that too. So just now, get on that waiting list. I have a few of them set up for different things on my website. And so I guess that's all I have to say, except I love you so much. Please keep your heart open. Keep your third eye open so that you can see, hear, feel, sense, know all the things in your surroundings that you should know, and hear, feel, sense, and know everything that is within you, being very grounded with your root chakra and that lower dantian. And until next time, I will see you on the flip side. Oh yeah, one more thing I forgot to mention. I got a free webinar that I want you to take advantage of, and I'm going to put the link below. You will learn so much from it. It will change your life if you haven't already been introduced to these things. And even if you have, when you start practicing them again, it will bring you back to who you really are. I know it's hard for me and other people just to say, well, just trust me. I'm saying just trust me because I've been witness to this in my own personal life and in others. So stay free, stay happy, stay human, and I love you. Luminous being of light.